Next shape we're doing is the cone. So the formula is pi r squared plus pi rl. So we have the parts of the cone. So we already did radius when we did sphere and cylinder. So r is always the line inside of the circle part. H is the height of the inside. L is the slanted side. So in our formula, we only need R and L. So that would be this position and this letter, R. But sometimes they're gonna give us this height and R, and we have to solve for L. So we'll do that part in a second. I'm gonna do the regular one when they give you R and L first. So if we have, let's say 3 inches as the radius and 8 inches as the slant height. So you're just gonna fill in your equation exactly how you see it for surface area. So we have pi r is 3 squared plus pi r is 3, so times 3, and then times L is 8. So remember that this is 3 times 3, not 3 times 2. Pi plus, we could put pi in the back, 3 times 8 times pi. 3 times 3 is 9, pi plus 24 pi, and then we add those. So that would be a total of 33 pi. And then we do inches squared as the unit. So that's the answer. So it's literally going to be the same thing over and over when you're given the radius and the height. So if I change these numbers, let's say here we have 5 and 9. All of this is going to be repeated exactly the same. So r squared is now 5. R is 5. 9 is RL. This is now 5 times 5. 5 times 9. So this is 25, 45. And then we do 45 plus 25. That's going to be 70 pi. 70 pi inches squared. So those same steps repeat over and over when you're given R and L. But if you're not given L, we have to add an extra step. So if I don't have that L, we're gonna do Pythagorean theorem to solve. So let's say we have cone. Okay, it's a little bit better. So let's say here we have 6, and here we have 8. Okay, so I could have written this regular. Okay, so let's say this is what we have. So again, for our formula, we need R and we need L to complete this setup. So we have our R is 6, but we don't have our L. So this has to do with Pythagorean theorem. We have a triangle. So if we take this and look at it this way, we have 8 and 6. We have a triangle, which is why we can use Pythagorean theorem. So what you're gonna do when you're missing that side, you're gonna take your two numbers, you're gonna square them. You're gonna do 8 squared plus 6 squared. Doesn't matter what order you put them in. And then we're gonna take the square roots of that. So this is gonna be the square root of 8 squared is 8 times 8. That's 64. 6 times 6. So just to make the note, this is 8 times 8, not 8 times 2. 6 times 6, not 6 times 2. That's 36. If we add those numbers, we get 100. And then the square root of 100 is 10. So our L is now 10. So now that we know this is 10 inches, we can plug in our formula. So our formula is pi r squared, which is 6, plus pi times r times L. So this is 6 times 6 times pi plus 6 times 10 times pi, 36, 60. And then we add those. This is 96 pi inches squared. So for the ones that don't give us L, this is the process that we do. And it's going to repeat. So if these were two different numbers, if instead of 6 and 8 we had like a 3 and a 5, we would plug it in exactly the way that we see it here on the square root. So that's the two things you'd have to do. If it gives you R and L, like the very first one up here, we're just doing our regular process. If it doesn't give you L, you have to do Pythagorean theorem first and then plug in the L once you've found it. So I'm going to do another example of the Pythagorean theorem one just to make sure we get that part down. And then you can work on your worksheet. So let's say we have this one here. So we don't have our L. So looking at what I did up here at the top, I'm going to do the same exact process. Take those two numbers and square them underneath a square root box. Equals L. 4, this is 4 times 4, that's 16. 3 times 3 is 9. If we add that, it gives us 25. And then we take the perfect square of 25, which is 5. So our L is now 5, and now we can plug into our surface area. So pi times r squared, r is 3, plus pi times r, which is 3, times L, which we now know is 5. So this is 3 times 3 times pi plus 3 times 5 times pi. That's 9 pi plus 15 pi, which gives us 24 pi inches squared. And that's it. So that's cone. Like I said, either we have the two pieces that we need and we jump right into plugging it into our original equation or our formula, or if we're missing L, we do Pythagorean theorem first and then do our formula. And that's it. So your worksheet should be uploaded with this as well. Go ahead and do your worksheet and make sure you show your work, show your steps, and then upload it to Google Classroom when you're done.